It has been a tough time to be a Manchester United fan at this moment in time. Sunday's 3-0 loss leaves Erik ten Hag's team 8th in the table, having lost half of their 10 Premier League games so far. They face a huge week, and it is all live on talkSPORT, Andy Boy. Wednesday, Newcastle home in the Carabao Cup. Saturday, 12:30, Fulham away. And next Wednesday, Champions League, where they are in Copenhagen. How will they respond? For more on the struggling Red Devils, we're joined now by host of United Stand and talkSPORT Saturday night presenter Mark Goldbridge. Mark, very good morning to you, mate. How are you?
Morning, Mark.
Yeah, morning, Andy. Ali, hope you're doing well.
We're doing well, mate. Thanks very much, and thanks for joining us. Mark, as you can imagine, with a lot of the United fans on yesterday, correctly in my opinion, accepting defeat can happen, particularly against a team of City's class and quality. However, the manner of the defeat they were far from happy with.
Yeah, it was. I think it was. You go into games like that, you both will have played in them as well. And a derby, a few United fans were a bit negative before, but for me, I've seen so many that you can't write anybody off in a derby. And I think there was some hope that there would be a spark and some energy from the team. And we beat Man City before, but I think as soon as that team lineup dropped, I personally was like, this is going to be very, very difficult. I mean, there's derbies and then there's unrealistic tasks ahead of you. And I think the team reflected the performance. We were okay until the penalty, which was obviously, I don't think it's a penalty. You give 10 of them a game if you start giving them for that. But then after that, you're not talking about the penalty because Man City in the second half, I mean, Erling Haaland probably had 3 or 4 chances he should have scored and he ended up with 2, didn't he? So yeah, you can't argue with it. And United were miles off, absolutely miles off, and it's a concern this season, definitely. But I think there's numerous reasons why that is, and it's not just the manager.
Yeah, Marcus Rashford is a player that really polarises opinion right at the moment. Mark, there are lots of United fans obviously love him, and there's an awful lot that seemingly don't. Where are you with that one?
I like Rashford, but I think there becomes a point in any player's career where you have to prioritise the shirt and not the individual. Marcus Rashford this season's been dreadful. And last season he was fantastic. The season before that he was dreadful. He's not a world-class player because he's not consistent. And we had the Ballon d'Or last night where Messi won it. And I've heard your conversations about Maradona. You've got people like Mbappe, De Bruyne. And I think Marcus Rashford gets held up at being that level of player, but he's not. And really, I don't really think he justifies the position in the team or the wage. And it's interesting you say that United fans love him because he's definitely got a huge brand out there and a huge following. But I was speaking to somebody about this on Sunday and I said, you listen to the reaction to the crowd at Old Trafford because they're the most important people. I don't feel that there's that love or patience with Marcus Rashford. I mean, he is a massive brand in football, but I think Man United fans are starting to lose patience with him. And that's reflected with when he's substituted and people agree with it, when other people get substituted and people are booing Højlund coming off instead of Rashford. So, look, it's a puzzler why he keeps getting picked. It's a puzzler why he can't produce the form he does. For England a couple of weeks ago, and then at Man United he looks miserable. But I think that reflects the problems within the football club and this blame culture that seems to allow so many players to drop their heads. And it's very unlike Manchester United, which is why you get certain ex-players, frustrated with the captain and etc. There's a real mentality problem there, and Rashford reflects that at the moment.
Like you're talking about the blame culture there. Understandably, there was a interesting conversation at the weekend with Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, and obviously their opinions were split on it, and Jamie was more or less saying, which I think was a valid point, that no matter the troubles at the top, players should be performing better, which I think is a fair point, although I do understand Gary as well. If there is a systematic problem all the way from the top, then it is a massive problem. Where do you stand on the discussion?
I think it's really not useful to individualise the problems at Manchester United at the moment. I mean, I heard Roy Keane talking about Bruno. I've heard people talking about Anthony. We've spoken about Rashford. And obviously, as you said there's the manager and there's the Glazers. Ultimately, the Glazers have run the club into the ground the last 10 years, but they're not picking the team and they're not performing on the pitch. I think with regards to United at the moment, from what I'm hearing within the club, is that it's broken. There's so much uncertainty. People who are just working in the fitness department or turning into admin are fed up and disillusioned. And I think that has infected the whole football club. If I was in charge, I would be changing my CEO, my director of football, coaches, fitness department, players, training ground. I think it's just Manchester United, if we're absolutely honest, are probably the 9th best team in the league at the moment. They're not there by chance. They are where they are. And you've got to say that's not on one manager. That's not on one captain. That's not on Marcus Rashford. I think this is on years and years and years of poor decisions. And that's why so many United fans wanted a clean break and a reset, because it needs years and years of rebuilding. It is where it is. And I think too many United fans just think, let's change the manager and everything will be fine. There's no manager in world football that's going to come in and change that football club, in my opinion.
I don't think you're wrong, mate. Sadly for United fans. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks,
all the best.
pal.
Have a good day.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.